So welcome to the Colour Forum. It's really, really nice to have you with us. Matt, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Matt Reid-Jones. I'm one of the sales managers over at Roland DG UK Ireland. My role is to look after the dealer channel. So I'm working with all the dealers around the UK and Ireland, supporting those guys, you guys included, GMG. My role is to make sure you guys have got all the information you need on the printers, work on offers and deals that we do on a quarterly basis. Make sure you got all the information, help out with things like demo days, open days. I'm always at the shows, so if you ever come to the shows at the NEC, you'll see me on the stand talking about our different printers and demonstrating the best features and so on. Part of my role as well is the UV specialist, so I tend to look after more of the UV products than say DTF. So within the team I work with, for instance, Ronnie, who's our head of sales, she's very good at the DTF and the garment printing. So she's kind of the go-to there, and I'm the kind of go-to for UV as well. But we're all involved in the other technologies like resin and eco-solvent.
Wow. So you've actually got a massive portfolio.
We do.
Yeah. It's hardware for the sign and graphics display industry. And you've got the flatbread. I told you I'd say that. Flatbread.
You did, yeah. Well, some days we wish it was, because if you're busy and you're on the stand and you're hungry, that's the one thing you need, isn't it? A bit of flatbread.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want ink on your flatbread though.
No.
But yeah, it's enabling production, not just the machines.
Yeah.
So versatility. How versatile are you as a company? Where would you kind of put yourself? I mean, obviously you've got all these different printers that do different things. So does that put you, in your opinion, as a leader?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've been in this industry since the early 80s. I think 81 actually, when Roland came into the kind of sign and display side of things. It came from the Roland Music, and the guys developed plotter. So we came out with a pen plotter, an XY axis machine, and from there we developed cutters and plotters, and maybe some viewers will remember some of those machines going back. And then we developed the inkjet printers with the built-in cutters, and that got us into the signage market. And obviously we grew and grew in that area, but it's all application led. So when the kind of markets and the industries change and organically change, and needs of the customers change, we start to look at those technologies and see where we can help and benefit those customers. So when we say about versatility, we cover the main inkjet technologies. So we're probably one of the only manufacturers out there that do eco-solvent, UV, resin, DTF, whereas you've got some manufacturers just focus on resin or latex. You'll have some manufacturers that just focus on eco-solvent, but we look at all of them and we see where our customers fit. So for versatility, if you came to our showroom, the chances are we've got a machine that will do what you need it to do, as long as it's inkjet printing.
As long as it's inkjet printing.
Yeah.
I mean, GMG are working very closely with Roland on a project, the Diageo project, which is direct to bottle. So can you talk us through that and how that actually works, and the different objects that Roland can print on?
Okay, so if you look at UV, UV inkjet allows us to print directly to the surface of the material. So if you take traditional inkjet printers, take a printer at home. You've got to print onto a paper. It's a water-based ink. And because it's a water-based ink, if you printed on, say, a clear film, if you loaded some clear film into your little desktop printer, the ink's going nowhere, because it's a hard surface for the ink to key to. So what we developed is an inkjet chemistry, which is a UV. It's like a solvent carrier with a UV polymer in there floating around and a pigment. And as the head's going across and jetting that ink onto the surface, there's two light boxes either side which flash the ink, and it dries it instantly. So what that allows us to do is put objects in there, whether it be a roller media or a flat object or something with a bit of curvature as well. And we can actually print directly to it, because the ink, as soon as it's landing, it's curing instantly. So it like
Okay.
plasticizes it is a term I sometimes throw about. I probably get shot for saying that, but it basically plasticizes the ink onto the surface of the material. So that gives us the ability to print onto wood, glass, plastics, metals. And we're at the stage now where it's more a case of what can't you print onto. So as
Okay.
long as we can put it in the machine, we can print onto it. So if we take the Diageo project as an example, they had a range of different shaped bottles, not always cylindrical. They got some really cool looking, products there. And what we've been able to do with you guys, you've developed the jig system to allow the material to stay flat, and then we're printing on that with our MO240s. So the MO240 is it's a bed size of A2, get that right, A2 bed. So we can basically fill that bed with anything we want. And we've got a head height of 200 mil. So it's a really high head height. So we can put anything from, we have customers who buy them to print onto pens and USB sticks for corporate events. Golf balls are a really big thing. That's very popular. Laptop cases, USB sticks, and well, you can imagine anything you can imagine that you want to put branding onto, we can print onto.
Okay.
And in that case for Diageo, it was all of the different bottles for the high end drinks, wasn't it? And then equally some of the packaging as well. So it's
Yeah.
not just printed on the glass. We can then take a prototype box and then we can actually print the prototype rather than having to, send that to a make ready or a wet proof or something like that. And it's very expensive to do that. If you want to take a sheet, put it in the machine, print your proof, and then, have it cut on a cutting table, you've got a box made up in 15, 20 minutes. You could make 10 of those and then show them to the client and say, look, we've got these options. Which one do you prefer? So yeah, there's lots of things we can do with UV, but in the case of Diageo, that's more of a packaging proofing. A little bit of production though as well, isn't it? Because they're doing the
Mm.
personalization, which is another huge thing
Yeah.
with UV and any printing really. But with UV, it's even more capable because we can print direct to those products.
And like you say, there's workarounds because going back to the bottles, I mean, just say objects, direct to object. Each object is a different shape,
Mm.
but with the jigs and with the head, did you call it headroom, head height that you've got
Head
in there?
height, yeah, the head
Head
height,
height.
yeah,
Then yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can get in there.
yeah.
So brand work, color accuracy. Why do you think, and I don't want to throw you under the bus with this question at all, why do you think that Roland's a good fit for a color critical environment?
Well, we understand inkjet technology, and
Okay.
we understand how to, we've got dedicated channels for certain colors, and we've included over the years. So, like a lot of companies, you start with CMYK, and then we start introducing extra colors to hit those extra color gamuts. So if you take, for instance, our current XG, we've got cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, standard primary colors, but we've got additions of light cyan, light magenta. We've got orange and green. We've got light black for neutralities of black and whites. We've even got white ink as well for printed onto clear films. So you've got a block out behind. We do the same for our UV. So in our UV systems, we've got red and orange, which really helps expand the color space in those hard to hit areas. So with those extra colors, where you're going to start to get closer and closer to those Pantones, to those, corporate colors that typically we're all trying to hit these days. But accuracy of color in all other areas as well, but gradients as well. So we get smoother gradients, more neutrality of color in black and whites, for instance, with the light black. So if you're struggling with gray areas, because we're mixing C and YK, we can start to use the light black in the lighter areas to get a smoother transition throughout the grayscale. So yeah, we understand that. We understand how to get the best out of the heads. Our print heads are quite clever. They've got 3 sizes of dots. So we've got large, medium, and small. And those small and medium dots help just fill those gaps in the lighter areas, just to get that smoother gradient.
Okay.
So yeah, so over the years we've developed and organically grown or evolved our printers to keep up with the demands of the markets.
And we were able to share your printers with some of our customers. I mean, thank you very much for hosting. So Print Without
Mm,
Limits, which
mm.
was our sign and display event in Bristol. Tell us about your Bristol hub, what happens there? What can you actually provide to the industry from there?
Okay, so I think the main thing is the showroom. So we've got a great showroom, kitted out with pretty much everything that we manufacture in some guys, because some of the machines we make in 3 or 4 different sizes. So we have to, for space, we've got like one LO, we'll have the MOs, we'll have the BDs, we'll have the eco-solvents, we've got the UV print and cut as well. So we have a good range of printers to come and have a look at. And as I say, if you've got an application and you want to know if UV inkjet can help, we're covered. We've got everything in the showroom, and that covers eco-solvent, that covers UV, so UV flatbed as well as UV print and cut for roll fed, and then we've got the resin there as well. So we've got the latex ink, but
Mhm.
we also have the bit of DTF in there as well. So if you are looking at garment printing, we've got DTF to show as well, and the whole workflow of DTF.
And would people bring substrates with them, or you have all the substrates there that
We do. We have substrate. We try to be as neutral as possible. So we're lucky that we've got a great relationship with most of the big brands out there, and they're happy to send us rolls of different vinyls. So we've got. So for instance, if you wanted to look at one of our XGs for vehicle wrapping, we'll have some cast vinyl there from the likes of Avery and Orijet and 3M. I don't want to miss anyone out. Metamark. Pretty much everybody gives us materials to play with. But then we have some dealers who have their own materials, and it's important. And for them, they'll bring the materials to the demo because they ultimately want you to see their material printing on our printer. So we can do that as well. And then on the rigid boards and things like that, we tend to work with Brett Martin tend to send us materials. So they make foam PVC and acrylic type materials. So that's quite handy. But if you're looking at the other side of UV, people are bringing their own products. So they're saying, look, we've got this product and we want to maybe put some corporate identity on there or serialization of numbers or, personalization.
yeah,
Yeah,
customization is really
absolutely. It's
growing, isn't it? It's a
huge. It's
really growing
absolutely, yeah,
market.
it really is. And we're seeing that year on year, the growth of it, which is why our UV inkjet printer range, our we've now got we've got several machines in the UV flatbed range, ranging from an A5 desktop all the way up to a 10 by 5, monster of a machine, depending on what you want to do. But ultimately, they all do the same thing. It's just smaller, bigger, bigger, bigger. So we're seeing a huge increase of sales and interest in those little desktop printers. The hope is that these guys buy the desktops, they buy the A5s, they get the business going. Then they realize, crumbs, we're doing well here. Business is booming. We need a bigger machine. We need a
Yeah.
faster machine. And the good news is we can go through that journey with them. So we can start them with an A5. They can jump up to an A4 or even jump straight up to an A2. And if that's, business is great, 2 years later, they tend to want to upgrade again. And then we go down the route of the LOs and the EUs and the COIs. So some of the more like proper commercial UV flatbed machines. So yeah.
So talking about printers, tell us what's new to Roland. I mean, we were able to showcase a little bit recently,
Yeah.
but yeah, tell us what's coming in.
So we got the VG4 now, which is our
Hmm.
sort of that's our eco-solvent. It comes in two widths, 54-inch and 64-inch. That's our traditional printer. That's what our bread and butter kind of print. If people know Roland, they know us for eco-solvent as a rule, and it's a very strong product in the sign and display market. So sign makers love that printer. It's easy to use. It's reliable. They tend, once they're out in field, they tend to be out there for a decade or so. People really squeeze the life out of the previous models, and then eventually they okay, we'll upgrade now. What's your latest model? Well, the latest model is a VG4. So we've
Okay. And
got
how long is it since you've had a launch of a new model in this? If people keep the old ones for kind of 10 years, this
mm,
isn't a quick turnaround of every year you'll upgrade then, no?
some do. Some like to upgrade
Okay.
every 4 or 5 years. So there is a duty cycle, and we do. But the point is, and I guess this comes back to why buy Roland. They're built to last, and they do
Okay.
last. And there's customers out there that will continue to use the printers for several years. But we have some customers who really hammer the machines, and they get to a point where after 5 or 6 years, yeah, okay, we're due a new one now. Commercially, that machine's paid itself off 10 times over. It's been a great asset to the business. And you know what? The new machine's got some nice features. I think we'll upgrade, and they'll do that, which is great for everybody.
Yeah.
But the VG4, as you show, as you guys saw at the event, what's really cool about the VG is we've now got an ink configuration that gives us. We're talking about colors and getting more accuracy of color, have been able to hit those hard to hit colors. If your file demands it, how do I hit that purple, that red, those greens and things like that, or even orange? Well, the VG4 has now got CMYK, but we've got another 4 dedicated channels, one for orange, red, let me get this right, orange, red, green, and light black.
Okay.
So it's a fantastic color space. It's absolutely stunning, and the print quality is just amazing. So yeah, we're fully expecting that one to be a hit for us moving forward. But you asked us when the last upgrade was. So
Yeah.
I think the VG4 came out about 3 years ago. So we tend to find sort of 3-4 years we'll start to look at getting the next model out. But we're doing that consistently throughout the range. So you might see one year you'll see a wave of new eco-solvents, and then the following year we might have a wave of UV, and then the following year some DTF. So we're always working on upgrading those machines, looking at ways we can, improve productivity. So whether that be print speeds, increasing the color gamut for quality, reliability of products as well, making sure that it's reliable. Anything we can do to make the user interaction easier. So, for instance, our control panels now, we've gone to a full screen, color screen, so you can get into menus really easily. So the operator in the morning knows that they can just hit a few buttons, run a quick test, print. If they need to do a clean, it's just a few buttons. It's not difficult to find. They can get that machine, test print, quick clean, printing.
Okay.
And that's the whole point of it.
Which
Yeah.
people just want accuracy and kind of productivity in the workflow. They just want it as a smooth process.
Yes,
So the
exactly.
fact that you've kind of incorporated that into this new technology is wonderful. I
Mm.
remember Roland being a piano all those years ago. I mean, printing from a Roland was certainly nothing you consider.
No. Well, that's it. Yeah. So, but that's how I guess that was a birth of Roland Digital Group, which is us, Roland DG. We
Yeah.
came from that Roland music all them years ago. And then, of course, we've grown to such a size. I mean, we're now separate companies, but there's still a relationship there. I think there's always going to be a history for both Roland Music and Roland Display Group, or Digital Group. Sorry, Digital Group. Get that right. But yeah, but a lot of people say, funnily enough, little story. So the earlier Rolands, I remember when I used to go out and do installs for customers, and occasionally you go to site and they'd have I don't know, for instance, a VersaCam, and you were showing them the menu buttons, and the guys would say, "Oh, I've got a Roland drum kit at home. That's exactly the same menu buttons as my drum kit. The buttons, everything, the whole panel was the same as their drum kit." So it was really
Yeah.
nice to have that kind of, connection with the music side at the time. So yeah, and there's a
Well, it
lot of
gives you
happy.
something to talk about as
Well,
well,
that's
doesn't
it.
it?
Yeah, and the customers were quite happy because they felt like they knew they were buying a premium brand, and the drum
Yeah.
kit was clearly very expensive and clearly very good at what it did. And then they were like, "Oh, and now my printer's got the button system the same as a drum kit." So they were happy. They thought it was cool. So
Not sure
yeah,
what a drummer's printing these days, but still,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
you just like you say, you can print on anything.
Well, you
And
could. Yeah,
back to
absolutely.
yeah, very much so. And the other one that's new. Can we talk about the
Oh,
other
the
one?
EU, yeah. So the
Mm,
EU2 is now launched. Yeah. So we've done really well with the EU. So it was our second 8x4 flatbed printer into the market. So historically, Roland's been well known in the UV industry, if you will, if you want to call it that. But we had a maximum size of bed, and we had I don't want to say ceiling, but on productivity, our CO series and S series was all about quality, and it still is. It's all about quality for us. So we're not necessarily, and we know that our customers aren't necessarily wanting to produce, hundreds of boards a day. So we've always leaned towards quality over speed. But a few years ago, we brought out the EU 1000, which is our 8x4, 6 colour, so CMYK with a white and a gloss, and that will print an 8x4 board in, for argument's sake, 6 minutes. So it's quite a fast machine, but it's at a good price point as well. So we're
Okay.
looking at a machine that can print, an 8x4 in 6 minutes. Very low running cost. Inks are about £89 a litre, so we're very, very cheap on the ink. So return on investment's very good on the EU. A machine of that ilk normally retails in the industry around about 75,000. So we went in hard. We went in at 59,999 with 2 years warranty. Yeah, so very good machine, very cheap, backed up with our Roland service, which is key to all of this. UK engineers, UK call centre, you pick up the phone, you need to speak to service, especially on these bigger machines, because production is everything. That machine goes down, you need to speak to somebody and say, I need somebody to come out and look at it or help me over the phone. I can't remember how to press this button, or I think I've done this wrong. Can you guide me through it? We can do that, and that's one of our key, I would say, unique selling points at Roland is our service. They're absolutely exceptional. I've gone on a bit of a tangent, but anyway.
No, that's fine. This is the old EU.
Yeah. But the EU, so that's the old EU. So what we've now got is it aesthetically looks identical. The big difference is we've upgraded the print heads. So we're now on generation 6 heads. And what does that give? It gives us at least 40% increase in productivity. So it's a huge leap in speed. So we're now looking at, 4 minutes for an 8x4, maybe less, depending on if you want to print into draft mode. We've got the same low cost of ink because it's the same ink. So we're looking at £89 a litre. And with the new heads and so we got different picoliter droplet sizes, still variable dot technology, which is really great for the gradients and the smoothness for transitions. So we've got all of that. And the good news is same price. So we're not making the printer any more expensive. So if anybody wants to look at the new EU2, we're going to be doing that at the moment. We're going to be doing that at the same price.
Back
just
at
to kickstart some sales. Yeah, with 2 years warranty. You can have it with 1 year warranty at 49,999 as well. So if you decide, okay, I'm happy with 1 year warranty, then you can do that, and there's a £10,000 saving. But then with the second year warranty, you do get extra preventative maintenance visits. All parts are included. Accidental head covers included. So as a package, it's really great. It's a really good price.
How on earth have you managed to keep the price the same, bearing in mind this is a complete redevelopment and kind of upgrade on a machine? It's very unusual in any market to be able to bring something new out at the same price that it was 5 years ago.
No, you're right. We did something similar with our BN series when we have a little desktop BN 20 machine, which is a huge hit for us. And again, it's for those startup businesses. And what we loved about that printer is it's a desktop inkjet solvent printer. It's got all the toys of the big boys, but in a condensed machine. And they retailed at £5,000. And we sold across Europe and the world, actually, America and Japan and everywhere. It's a global product. And thousands of these machines are going out the door. And when we brought the BN2 out, we had some really good upgrades. So front loading now rather than back loading. So a whole new feed system, twice the speed because we added extra things to the printer to make it more productive. We brought it out at the same price because the market demands it to a degree. It's a very competitive market. We know that, the state of things at the moment, people are keeping the money, if you will.
Yeah.
So we've got to look at the reality of that and say, right, well, if we want to push these sales more, if we want to get more of these machines out in field, we're going to, ideally, if we can afford to, let's just keep the price the same. So, yeah.
And I suppose quantity over, if you can get them out there at the same price, but sell so many more of them because they're competitive, then you're covered anyway. Your return on investment's fully covered anyway.
That's it, yeah. And we've done really well with the EU, and we want to continue that growth. So we want to be known in the market as not just being the highest quality printer in UV, but we now want to say, look, guys, we do have customers who over the years have said, we're ready for a UV flatbed now, but unfortunately, your S series is just a bit too slow. and that's fine, and they've gone elsewhere for a printer. But we want them customers to stay with us. So, and we'll do that by, if we have to, by giving some exceptionally good prices for some really, really good kit.
Yeah, I mean, it's top quality. It
Mm.
really is world leading. Are you noticing a massive industry shift into like the more automation and kind of the workflow integration side of things? How are you feeling kind of around what your customers are asking for? Is it very much a supply and demand industry where you would get approached by customers that you have at the moment saying, I need you to be able to do this.
Yeah, I think, that's an interesting question. I think because we live in this digital world now, everything's got to be simple and easy, hasn't it? And workflow is a big part of what we do, and that's something that we know GMG are very good at as well. And that's why we like to partner with companies like GMG, because there are certain things that we just can't do and we haven't invested in. Whereas you guys can take our products and bolt it into your solution and make that work for the customer. So for us, that's a fantastic relationship. We do have VersaWorks, which for automation and keeping things simple, bringing multiple jobs into a print queue, having it organize everything together, making sure that when we hit print, we can see what's going to happen and it goes through to the printer, because ultimately it's the output that we're interested in, but we want to make that workflow simple. Then we've
Yeah.
worked very hard, and I would say VersaWorks is one of the best rips in the market for that. It comes included with every machine. And to kind of labor the thing about, the journey with Roland, if you're a company that starts with us and buys a BN20 and learns how to use VersaWorks and our workflow that comes with it, and there's some nice color settings in there, not as detailed as what GMG can do, but certainly
But
good.
not everybody needs that, Matt.
No, exactly. Yeah. So for
Yeah.
these guys, they can bring the files in. They can, what they see is typically what they're going to get on the printer. So they're happy with that. And they have that machine for a number of years, and then they grow their business. When they buy the next Roland, the VersaWorks RIP, they don't have to relearn it, because the RIPs, we give the same RIP with the BN220 as we do with the EU2 1000. So it's the
Okay.
same workflow. So if
Yeah.
they decide to go down the route of, well, do you know what? I think latex would work for us now. We understand latex technology. That's the technology we need to move into moving forward. And they've had a BN220 for a couple of years. It's great because we can install the printer and leave them to it. They don't have to relearn how to, use the software, the workflow, and everything else. And yeah, so that's one of the things that I would say we're very proud of, and we're very good at, is developing that software. There are some things coming down the line as well regarding color management, and some new tools
Okay.
coming. Yeah, so there are some stuff coming, and very, very soon. And that's going to give customers the ability to manage color a little bit better, maybe with a plug-in Spectro and things like that, if they want to go down that route. Again, it would be with standard color spaces, so the generic ones that we've got. Whereas with GMG, you've got your color space, and obviously you can take multiple devices, and that's where you guys really come in, because a customer might need, a Roland for this application, but a different manufacturer or a different style of printer for this application. And you can make those two work together through your solution. And that's
Yes.
fantastic. That's what we can't do. We can't drive anybody else's kit through our VersaWorks RIP. So, but when it comes to workflow, and I think in this like whole world of digital, you hear of things like web to print now, don't you? People wanting even to make it that easy. So you could
Yeah.
have a website where you've got you're offering t-shirt printing and personalization. So this is where personalization really comes in. So you could have a website with a template, and you could say, I want, for argument's sake, it's Mother's Day, so I want my mum's name on there, bloody. And the customer, so for the customers, the end user, they're looking at this website, this is great, I'm going to put my mum's name in, blah, 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 hit buy, they order that, but on the back end, so the actual printer is getting an automated PDF created with the variable data straight into a workflow that then goes to the printer. nests with a bunch of others, because you don't want to print one at a time, right? You want to wait until you've got a load of prints ready, and then it fires it straight through with color management added in there for good measure to make sure you've got consistency and everything else. So we definitely see an increase in that. I mean, that's definitely something customers are looking at. And I think some of the bigger guys as well. And I think when you've got multiple plants around, or installations, if you will, around a country, you might have a large corporate with maybe 10 or 20 different print shops around the country. They want to know that they're all printing the same, right? And with the same color, and again, the automation and the workflow is critical for them. Absolutely critical. So we can support it to a level, and then obviously we can then hand it to you guys, and then you can can take it to the next level.
We'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
So, in one sentence, I mean, you've said a lot of sentences that very much put Roland DG on a platform. What is it that you love about Roland personally?
For me personally, we do great products. I'm in sales. So every salesperson, the holy grail is find me a product that I can sell. Find me a product that's easy to sell. Don't get me wrong, it has its challenges at times, but we do great products. And they're solid, they're reliable. And it's great. We do printwear every year. So that's a great place to go to meet new companies, to meet new startups. And you listen to what these guys are wanting to do, and we've got all the lovely kit on the show on our stand, and they're coming over, and the everyone's engaged. We've got the MO printing onto coasters and maybe USB sticks, and just anything we can think of that just gets people's juices flowing, their creative juices flowing. And they come over and we get chatting to them. And it's great just to talk to them about the journey that they're going to go through. And they're going to start here when we know where it's going to go, because it always goes in the right direction. But knowing that they're going to take, if they purchase a Roland, just knowing that they're going to have a good experience. They're going to have a printer that's reliable. They're going to have a printer that's easy to use. They're going to have a printer that's got the workflow, the VersaWorks RIP. We know that if they have a problem, we've got a UK service team with, engineers that will go out there and fix a problem if they've got an issue. So for me, it's that confidence in the product, I guess, is probably one way to put it.
It makes it so much easier for you to sell if you're confident in it. I mean, it sounds as though you are incredibly user friendly. And I'm not just talking someone who's got a little shop on Etsy printing labels to go on bottles and stuff. I mean, this goes out to the much wider market for sign and display. Matt, thank you so much for your time today.
No worries. All right. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Colour Forum, the podcast from GMG Colour, where we bring together the people, innovations and ideas that shape the world of colour and print. Don't forget to follow and share with others across the industry. You can contact us to book a demo via sales.uk@gmgcolour.com.